My name is Sandy Graves, and I am a parishioner at Christ the King Parish. Currently, I serve as the chair of the Pastoral Council, and I'm also part of the music ministry for the parish. I'd like to share a word of hope with you that continues to carry me daily. Several years ago, I was attending a conference where the speaker encouraged us to ask the Lord to speak a word into our heart. Well, to that point, I had never been one to believe that the Lord would speak directly to me. After all, who am I to him? But I am obedient, so I closed my eyes and I challenged the Lord to speak to me. And quietly I heard John 15. I wasn't entirely sure if it was the Lord or if it was my own humanness, but I can tell you today, some 11 years later, that I know now it was definitely the Lord's doing for me to receive that word. After the session, I grabbed my Bible, thinking that it would be one line in a chapter, only to discover that it was the entire chapter, and there were a lot of verses in that chapter. That chapter has given me much hope over these last years, and at different times, various verses have become beacons for my daily life. I'd like to share a few of the verses for you. John 15 is that chapter that begins with, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. It goes on to say in verse 5, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. And near the end of the chapter we read, You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give it to you. This I command you, to love one another. In these verses, I have been brought to the realization that Jesus is the true vine that I can cling to during stormy days. He has promised to prune away everything that isn't of him, so that I can bear fruit that is of him. And it gives me great hope to know that all I have to do is ask him to strip away anything and everything in my life that isn't of him. Any worries, distractions, fears. It also gives me hope to know that without him, I can do nothing. That reminds me to put all my faith in him. And thank God it means I don't have to rely on myself, because left to my own devices, I would surely mess things up. He has entrusted gifts and talents to me that in my humanness, I sometimes think are mine to do what I want with. This verse reminds me that those gifts are actually his, and he trusts me to use them to build up his kingdom here on earth. These days, my world largely consists of my work, our domestic church, and our parish community through virtual connections. But there is nothing virtual about my connection with God these days. He has made himself so known in my days and through our Christ the King parish. He has made it possible through this pandemic for my husband and I to pray together more frequently, to have really meaningful conversations about our faith, and to share these with a broader community of people that I may not have ever met otherwise. So today I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on how God has chosen you and gifted you with talents and abilities that he is calling you to use in his part of the world. Are you called to help a neighbor, or to check in on someone, to pray with someone, or to pray for someone, to send an encouraging card or make a phone call? maybe to share some of your material wealth. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of your true vine and for choosing and appointing us to bear fruit today.